wish I could say that I had a super secret way of doing it, but you might be disappointed because it's pretty straightforward. There's nothing groundbreaking here, and a lot of it is just tips that I've picked up by looking at other blogs or watching other videos. So we're going to be focusing on one of our older sets. This is our Season of Thanks sets. And okay, so you've seen me use this embossing mat. This just goes with my Big Shot, and it's to do your embossing. I like to lay down something underneath my paper when I am stamping large solid stamps. This gives a little bit of that cushion that you might get in a red rubber stamp. Okay, the first thing you want to do is make sure that your stamp is free of any debris. So when you clean it, if you use baby wipes or something like that, make sure that there's no fibers or anything on the surface of it, because that could mess with your impression. I usually just lay it down flat on my surface and then use block to just pick it up off of the surface. I usually press, make sure I don't have any air bubbles trapped under there, and then just pick it up. So now let's discuss some of the inks. I prefer a dye ink. I prefer using dye inks over other inks. I like the texture that the dye ink allows the impression to retain, but I still get even coverage. If I'm using a large solid image, I tend to stay away from distress inks. I love my distress inks, but I don't recommend them for large solid stamps. Another good choice would be pigment inks. Pigment inks are really great, and a lot of people are very fond of them. Fast drying pigment ink would be the best, especially since you've got such a large area. You don't want to risk smudging it. Chalk inks I find to be a little too juicy. The pads are always super, super juicy, so I don't. When there's detail cut in here, like this give is very fine print, and it tends to pull in the negative spaces of the stamp. So I'm not a huge fan of the chalk inks. So let's go ahead and stamp some of these out. So if I'm using a large stamp pad like this one from Stampin' Up!, so the surface of the stamp itself is uneven. So, and you can see that here, and that's from, you know, years or months or however long you've had this. For me, this is years of use. So if you stay right in the middle of your pad is going to be indented, and then when you go to ink this, if you just go like this in the middle, you can see here, well, you can't see because my stamp's so dirty, but I can see here that I've missed an area right down the middle and right here. So where the pad was raised, it made contact with the stamp. But where it wasn't, where it's recessed, it did not. So I always make sure I give it a few good presses to begin with to get lots of ink on the stamp. So then I do these light, firm taps, and I move the stamp around. So now it looks like I have a nice, good, even coverage. So we'll test that out, and I'll go ahead and stamp this. And when I pull that up, see, I don't have any bare spots. You'll notice there's a little bit of texture showing through all over, but the image is all there, it's all complete, and I still have all of this great detail in here, so my image, you know, came out nice and clean and clear. So another tip that you can use is stamping or inking your stamp first in Versamark. So get a nice even coverage of Versamark, and then directly pick up some ink. I'm going to do a couple nice firm pushes, and then that rapid tapping while moving my stamp around. And then I'm just going to press down. Again, making sure that I'm pressing firm and all over the surface of that stamp so that the stamp itself touches the entire surface of the paper. So again there, no bare spots.